Hey all, Raxable here. Just thought I'd do a little unboxing video of the Valken Proton that I just got via Blue Water Paintball. And just to let you know, Blue Water Paintball are the distributors within the UK for Valken kit, and Valken also, I believe, own and sell or make the Sly kit as well. Blue Water Paintball just started up. Most people know the guys that run it, which is Tim and his crew from Shoreline, and they do, as far as I know, pretty much most of the huge events held within the UK and expanding out into Europe. So, hi guys, thanks for sorting us out with this. So, let's have a little look. Now, most people would have seen these guns on the internet previously. They've been predominantly over in America, and they just started filtering over here. They've been out in America for I think about since 2011, 2010. It's based on the Mocal Aura paintball gun. As I understand it, Valken got a license to rejig most parts of it, and what they actually ended up doing was, the most obvious thing is they remilled the body. Looks less sort of blotchy and curvy and organic, as I would call it. I mean, compared to the Mocal Aura, there's new webcam. The main gas chamber sort of dump area, which is here on the Aura, basically is just a sort of a roundish block sticking out. The Valken guys have milled this really nicely out of a single billet of aircraft aluminium. So this main chamber is just one piece. Then you've got the foregrip, which also holds the actual operating board. You've got a rear snatch grip and rear frame all in one with wraparound grips. And I don't know if you can pick it up very well on here, but they're all sort of nicely soft rubber dimpled all over, all round there. So it's actually reasonably comfortable to hold. I've got quite big hands. I'm 6'1", 6'2", very big hands, and yeah, as you can see, I can hold this quite easily. I'll dig out a tape measure later and just show you the span of my hand so you get a rough idea. But in comparison, it's about the same length as an axe, except the axe's foregrip will come up to about here, whereas the Valken gun here is, I would say, 2/3 to half the depth of the foregrip on an axe. So anyway, in the box you get the marker, you get a reasonably ported barrel. It's what, 2, 4, 6, 9 portholes, and yeah, 3 sets of them. It's not the most heavily ported barrel in the world, and does make quite a nice boom, but the gun is actually quite quiet and not too much kick to it either. So it's a reasonable one. It's auto cocker threaded as well, and one I got, if you can get down there, is reasonably shiny. When I got it, it was a little bit dirty inside, left over from the milling process in the factory. So I just ran a barrel swab through it and came out fine. And it is, what's that, just under 12 inches in length from tip to screw point, or end point. There you go. So yeah, it's just shy of 12 inches. So not the biggest barrel, not the shortest, reasonable size. And as I promised, the span of my hands from thumb to little finger is, what's that, 20, 21, 22? Just over about 8.5 inches, so fairly big hands, but can hold this just fine. My wife, who has very small hands, no comments, thank you, can hold this as well just fine, because the grip is actually really nice and thin. I mean, it's what, 2 inches deep, so you can wrap your hands around it quite comfortably for big and small hands. Anyway, within the box itself, as I say, you get the marker, you get the barrel, you get the little manual, which talks you through the majority of the features and how to change things. Little section here of actually how to hard lock using the dip switches within the gun, the play mode that you want for the gun. Most places within the UK use Millennium, which is what I've actually set this up to now. It's really easy though, it's just dip switches either on or off within the little front foregrip. I'll show you that in a bit as well. When it comes out the box, all the dip switches are switched to off, and what that actually lets you do is cycle through the firing modes. So you'll go, what is it, semi, 3-shot burst, and then full auto. I don't even think it's a safe full auto, but I'll find out in a sec when I set it back and show you. And it really does kick out quite well when it's on full auto, but I wouldn't recommend ever using that on a field because you can get into trouble for it. I think it'll go chuck out about 25 balls a second, and on my shooting video, which I'll do later, I'll actually have it cranked out as high and as fast as it will go, and it does get pretty close to that. So anyway, back into the manual. Here it goes through basic maintenance. This thing has the easiest maintenance in the world. When I do my other video, when I completely strip this down and rebuild it, I'll show you the basic maintenance, and then all the gun completely ripped to bits and put back, and what the most common O-ring faults, etc., are likely to be. In second to last pages, there's a couple of nice exploded diagrams here. One of the actual gun itself completely chunked down, including the bolt, all the little O-ring sizes, etc., etc., including the ASA stroke regulator as well, because if you didn't notice, it doesn't have a macro line, it's just gas into the ASA straight up into the gun, so no macro line to worry about. There's a couple of expansion issues, but we'll go through that later again. And then exploded diagram again of the bolt. There's the little part for being line regulator, and all the O-ring sizes are here, and they nicely detail out which one is which. So these two last pages, I would say take a photocopy or download the PDF from Valken's website, print off just these 2 pages, stick them in your kit bag, because you know what's going to happen at the field. You're going to be trying to replace an O-ring, you're not going to be 100% sure of the size, so if you've got this index basically with the O-ring sizes, you're going to be able to either have one in your bag or scrounge, borrow, steal one off of someone to get your marker sorted out. And then just the last pages, which are the limited warranty, etc., etc., and the warranty card. So basic manual, black and white. It's very simple. It talks you through every little bit that you need to know. It's not flashy, it's not in colour, but it's what I would call an engineering book basically. It tells you, okay, you want to change this, this is what you do. This is the part, this is the size of the O-ring, etc. Nothing else. So the other things you get are Valken barrel sock or barrel condom, depends how you want to call it, and basic set of O-rings. I would say one full change. You've got a couple of detents in there and detent springs, which are going to be handy. What I'd say is, if you've got a magnet handy, a spare little old tiny battery sized magnet, stick it in here. That way it'll keep the springs in place, because people always lose the springs from detents. And also, if you're ever doing work on your gun and you've got screws to hand, etc., you just drop them by the bag and the magnet will grab onto it and stick to the outside of this bag, and you're not going to lose your screws either. Plus, eventually over time they get slightly magnetized, so then it's great. They just stick to anything and everything, and it'll just help you not lose them. You can pick them up from sort of most hardware stores, or Maplin's do a good line in these tiny little magnets. And then you get all the Allen keys that you're going to need for the marker. They're just straight Allen keys, not ball ended or anything, nothing fancy, but it's all the ones you need. So nice little touch. As I say, this is just an initial unboxing. I think these are retailing for, what is it, about £260. Can't fault it. I've had a little blast around with it already. Works perfectly. Does come with a battery. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups kicking in now. Does come with a battery, which is nice. So the gun powers on from the word go. Screw in your bottle, stick on your hopper, and you're ready to rock. Me and the teammate got one of these each to test out. Mine was shooting out of the box at 320. His was doing 250. So when you do get it, you will need to chrono it, because it could be hot, it could be cold. You just don't know how it's going to be firing. But I'd say when you get it, go through the gun, go through the manual, play about with all the settings, and when you turn the eyes off, you can hear the solenoid kicking in, because it's quite loud. And you'll be able to sort of work out what you want to do, have a play about with it, get the trigger set up. The trigger I found wasn't kicking in until it was pretty much all the way back. So yeah, 3-point adjustable trigger. Was it 2? No, it's 3. Played about with that, got it set up to the way I like it. Teammate was just the same, but his was kicking in right at the front, and then he had a ton of back travel that did nothing. So you breathe on the thing and it shot, and then you could pull the trigger all the way back and it was just travelling and doing nothing. So check out the triggers, etc., etc. Read the manual. Always a good thing to do when you get the gun. I know it's tempting to take it out and start shooting it, but if something goes wrong, you're gonna want to read the manual and know how to fix it. Bolt out the back. This may need an initial Allen key in the back just to give it a crank to loosen it from the factory, but once you do that, you can just get your fingers in, unscrew the thing, and out it pops. I'm not going to do that now, because you'll see that in the complete stripping video. Interesting thing, most people, including the manual, have actually got this a bit wrong, the wrong way around. Valken have adjusted this recently. The on-off button is actually here, and you push that in to turn it on, and you pull it out to turn it off. On the Mocal Aura and I think the old version of these, it was the reverse. You pulled the button out to turn it on, and in part of the literature, or the one I've got anyway, it says to turn the gun on, you pull it out, but you don't, you push it in. And there you go, you saw the LEDs light up. Green LED flashing away there, saying yeah, the gun's on. Stick your finger in and it stops, so there's a ball in there ready to shoot. Pull the trigger, starts flashing red because it can't detect a ball. So if a ball is in there, you can hear the solenoid kicking off. Two little buttons on here. One is for the mode, the other is for the eyes. And just double check, yeah, it's the top one for the eyes and the bottom one for the mode. So press and hold it for a bit, flashes orange, eyes are off. As I say, I've got this set to Millennium, 10 balls a second, but when it comes out the box, if you press the mode button, it will cycle through the modes, but again I'll show you that in the other video. So cheers again to the guys at Blue Water Stroke Shoreline. Looking forward to giving this a proper working out. I would kind of compare this to an axe initially, sort of maybe an ether or one up on an ether, because it is ridiculously light. But for 260 quid, really can't fault the gun so far, and we'll see how it shoots and what it's like later on. Thanks very much, guys. See ya.